So I was talking Nicole yesterday, both because she's a highlight, she's a landmark, she's maybe the best in some ways. Surely she is in some ways. If not, she was not perfect. That's for sure. And I had to get here because in the next episode it will intersect. So continuing, I kind of went sideways and backwards and forward. But she will be a key element in the Daniel story series started. So I had to introduce the in this what's the name of soap opera. So that was fabulous in Cacciolata. It was one of those periods and places where you think, okay, it doesn't promise anything. In fact, to begin with, I thought this is another crossing of the desert that the tourist office requires. Băi, potolește, nu strica pe acolo. He's putting holes in the net, and then this guy will take advantage and just fly and then scream and annoy 200 people. Băi, termine! Dă-te jos imediat! Ia dă-te jos, gata, hai că încep să strici. Annoy 200 people because he wants somebody to... I said that before. Okay, let's not repeat forever this. So, yeah, it sounded like hell, but it also may prove the quote, very wise thought. The mind is its own place. It can make heaven out of hell and hell out of heaven. So that's one thing. Yeah, so the tourist office asked me to go and just bore myself to death in some resorts which were for all people coming to treat maladies of various kinds, rheumatism, you name it. They would have some miracle cure, some waters for it. Some would get better, but that's the placebo effect we all know and sometimes feel. But instead of being the most boring place on earth and crossing of the desert, first, it was very enjoyable as it was before Nicole came about, because of the air, because of the waters. I had some waters, and since I was there, I also took some of the treatment, magnetic. I stayed in one ring here, one ring there, supposedly with some magnetic current, and I don't think I got massage, but that massage is wonderful any way you put it. I mean, if it's somebody who knows how to do it, or somebody even better, somebody nice to do it, no matter how. In fact, in the lectures on positive psychology, most popular ever at Harvard, there's a lecture there which talks about some other apparently unconnected things like sleep. And when he starts that, he doesn't stop. It's and I wish you don't hear it scream, but then if it does, I'm sorry, because you'll be blown away. I mean, spoiler alert, you should stop here because if it's in the mood, your phone will break. If you're on the phone watching this, so it made me lose my thread, if there is any. What was I saying? That was nice even before Nicole arrived. Yes, I know, massages, and I tried the things there, and the fact that they mentioned sleep. You need sleep. With sleep, and then touch. You need to be touched and touch someone, I know, 3-5 times a day or something like that. That's research studies have shown that it will improve your well-being. And then Nicole comes in, and she was, as I said, slim, beautiful. Interestingly, I don't have her here. I can't see her, even if I try. But I can say she wasn't perfect. That's not the point. Even if somehow, how do you say that? Objectively, she was really something. I mean, it's not. I will go on to say, knowing her, and for me, she was fantastic and special. But even if, to put things in perspective, even if somebody would not know her, she would be more than noticeable, remarkable, and towards spectacular. But knowing her, her energy, vitality, her determination, her drive, her industry, her courage, her take this for instance, the fact that she young as she was, 18, 19, something like that, she had a future, or well, the basic major part of a future that was already planned for. She knew when we met that she had things organized. She would marry a guy with a mustache, tall, strong, well built, something like this. I don't know, a bit dumb. No, that's I said that before. Deja vu. Did I really make a video like this before? Maybe at what I said. Well, what can you say? It's his fault. And no, I don't know why I say that. Blink, the thin slicing theory, a feeling. I mean, the power of thinking without thinking. We have an impression. We make an opinion of someone in under a minute. So that's how. That's why CEOs, a third of the CEOs of the top 500 Fortune companies, Malcolm Gladwell, he's the author of Blink, a classic. One third of them are extremely tall, 190 centimeters. And in the population at large, they're just about 3%. They're 10 times more. But that's because when they come for an interview, the selection is made basically on in the first few seconds, first impression. Good CVs, yes, but that's the case for those who have 170 centimeters, 160, 178. Anyway, returning. He was a German citizen. That's what's important. So she knew she cannot stay here. She knew she needs a better life, and that's Germany for her, and for the others. And since she had already been given that passport, born there, it doesn't matter. She had this thing settled somehow, which, to anticipate, would not explain, justify, excuse the mărșăvie, the evil thing I would do later. But still, I mean, if you have this already settled, sealed, and why can't I go on a tangent? But let's wait for that. And so I don't know if she said this on the first date, but she said it soon enough. I mean, she didn't say this in her favor. She said it quite soon. I mean, no false pretenses or lying about it, so to say. I mean, maybe she did hide some details, I don't know. The major part of the story was in the open. Oh, I know where I met her. It was in front of the hotel, the Căciulata, I think, or the first. As you come from Bucharest and you enter on the three, I think, tower blocks type of hotels. And I think the name of the first one is Căciulata, which is also the name of the reason, Călimanești Căciulata. Călimanești has some of the older buildings, and Căciulata new. New in the sense that the communists built them all alike, maybe in the 60s, 70s, maybe a little later. And she was there in front. And I was dazzled. You mean they have this type of human here in the middle of nowhere, among the very old and the ancient and the undead and the ghosts of the place? And yes, she was there, and we talked and hit it off quite soon. Maybe because it was a bit of the same for her. I mean, very few men of the age needed to be interesting to talk to between 18 and 40. I don't know. So she was with her mother. The reason why she was there in this dead place, unlike me, who was working, she was with her mother. Her mother with the syndicates or something. She had a ticket and she was treating herself of asthma, let's say. And she was stunning, as I said. Now there is a side of the story that seems to me a bit strange and obscure. It's that phenomena where maybe this thing happened, maybe this thing was said. Anyway, that's what I remember of me making of what was said or not. Imagining then, and plus imagining now that I imagined then. You get the gist of it. It's a convoluted story, probably fiction 80%. But the way I have it is that she was a virgin. Well, she said she was a virgin. For some reason, I also remember having sex on the balcony on something, on a mattress we took out because we were with somebody she had with her, a cousin or a friend, something. And she was also talking, communicating, maybe kissing, foreplay, maybe more. I don't think it was more. For some reason, again, imaginary circumstances. They were inside, so we had to go, or we didn't have to go. It was just a thing we did. A bit bizarre, but that's how I remember as the major aspects. One, that she was a virgin, but it didn't seem, well, I was not anymore, but not far from passing the threshold. And in any case, evidently very naive, very with very little knowledge, very little experience or understanding, comprehension, imagination, information, because it seemed to me that maybe she was, maybe she didn't, but it didn't look like we really had the pain. Let's not get into this, even if we have a very limited audience niche and no kids here, so the mention of blood and whatnot wouldn't be so offensive for a public of 120. But anyway, at this point in the video, and part of, to conclude and continue today, part of the reason for this confusion, for this feeling that it didn't happen physically, it wasn't what was expected or I expected, or anyway, I don't remember. It's because it was anyway a dream. She was so dynamic. She was so vibrant, so vital that she anyway took. Let's put it this way: she lost the virginity. It felt like she lost the virginity. That every moment was as special as losing the virginity. And when that happened, if it happened, because it didn't feel any different, because every other moment with her was something. She was also demanding. I remember me going with the car, well, in Bucharest with the Dacia. At one point, I bought the Dacia from Marius Jäger. For him, I made a few series. That's something I know. And she wouldn't be happy with it. Where do we go? At certain days we would go, because we were very close to the exit from Bucharest. We would go near the field and we would have sex in the car. But she rejected that. Some days she said, "Let's go to the fields." Let's say, I don't remember how she said it, but that was the basic idea. But then she said, "No, let's go to Obor." I'm just inventing, but and I said, "Well, why? I want to go there." And she was not in. She was so great, not in the sense that she demanded as a fussy, arrogant, preposterous bitch, let's say. No, she was really like a princess. She had something. She was fabulous. Let's continue with that tomorrow.